A quick thank you to the T5 peeps. Bob the Dragon, Datamagnet, Cat Crab Lobster, DuckMachine, Try Again 95, Astraya the Dreamer, Mezec, Feudic Jarl, Germanchemist, Casper Arnholtz, and Chaos to Mist. Thank you very much. Story number 1. A brief look at that time a human declared war on some nullwits, written by Quasar Einfist. The Democratic Republic of Benix was waging war against the unified Seafar electorate. The TGC had no stake in such conflict, other than being slightly amused at the name of the first. Taylor Hughes was pretty much the most non-threatening person to exist. A tiny, shy brunette with a bit of social anxiety. She was unexceptional. At the time, she was on vacation with her husband, Terbrooke Hughes, on the planet of Lbry 4 in the Electorate's territory, a newly colonized planet of only a little bit over 1 billion people, and was of no military worth whatsoever. Through a chain of miscommunication and incompetent leadership, Lbry 4 was mixed up with weapons manufacturing ecomonopolists. The fleet was dispatched to bombard the planet. To the people scanning the fleet, it was pretty obvious that the planet was not in fact manufacturing complex. But to question orders was to invoke the wrath of the Inquisitors, so screw that. The planet had some standardized defenses, but they were only prepared to fight off a bit of piracy, not an actual fleet of warships from the Republic. The planet's defenses were quickly overwhelmed and nuclear weapons blanketed the surface. Taylor received third-degree burns, internal bleeding, and a nasty blow to the head. Terbrooke wasn't human. He was a bit less durable. When Taylor came to a few months later, her nanites and many gathering resources from the surroundings. Her loving husband, her husband that made her laugh and smile, was dead. The Republic fleet left, their mission accomplished. Taylor's immediate response was a bit of hysterical laughter. Her second response was carrying her husband's corpse back to their ship. The ship wasn't directly targeted by orbital bombardment, so it was fine. Its surroundings were less so. She had turned off its protective defenses to prevent massive collateral damage were someone to toss a rock at it. She desperately wished that she hadn't. By giving a damn about collateral damage, she had prevented the ship from automatically shooting down the nukes. By giving a damn about collateral damage, she had inadvertently killed her husband. What she did next was maybe a bit of an overreaction. But suffice to say, she was a tad bit irked at the Republic. She had a ship fabricator start making mining drones. There was plenty of scrap around after all. The mining drones brought back materials, and the fabricator started making more fabricators. A short while later, and she was strip mining the planet. Once the materials available on the surface were collected, she started setting up deeper drilling operations and took her ship to orbit. The fabricator on her ship started making more fabricators, only this time with railgun-delivered resources. About 6.5 hours after her husband was killed, she was mining away at every planet and moon in the system. The drones, battery-powered. The recharging hubs spread throughout the system, each with a bit of antimatter fuel from her ship. She attached cargo sections to her ship and collected excess processed materials from each planetary manufacturing hub. 9 hours after the attack, she finally had enough materials to start creating a Dyson swarm. Though, just the start, of course. Even just a portion of one provides quite a lot of energy. Lackluster compared to a proper rig group, but it'll do. Fabricators formed an expanding perimeter as the swarm grew. 12 hours, and she had enough power and materials to start making stellar lifters, harvesting vast amounts of plasmic hydrogen and helium with, relatively, sparse bits of other elements mixed in. 15 hours post-attack, and she was able to start creating more exotic materials. 18 and FTL cargo ships flooded the star system. 21. And she had constructed a basic gateway and synced it to the rest of the network. Her time a fair bit shorter than had she made the trip back to human space the normal way. 24 hours and the drones were being sent outwards from the border of humanity's territory, not facing the Union. Not von Neumann probes, though. Those were rather outdated after all. But human probes require each probe to have manufacturing capabilities and hefty computer systems. All a gateway drone needs is a big engine and a big warp drive. Once at the destination, the drone detaches from the folded-up gateway it was hauling, and the gateway unfolds into a functioning connection to every other gateway in the network. The drone goes through to collect another gateway, and more drones head through at every other star that doesn't already have a drone en route. Once that's completed, a bigger folded-up gateway is sent through the first. Then a bigger one is sent through that one. A few iterations of this, and the star system is capable of handling regular traffic, starting with the beginning of construction of a Dyson ring group. 36 hours after the Republic doomed itself, she started sending automated warships back through the portal to Electorate space. The Electorate was for the most part just grateful for the support against the aggressors. The first battle against the Republic was ended quickly. Boarding pods full of robotic soldiers and toxic gas meant the ship was still in decent condition. Easier to reclaim materials from a ship disabled by chemical warfare than antimatter ammunition. Taylor wasn't a chemist, but bored people on the internet quickly provided a tailor-made chemical formula targeting a couple of species of the Republic. The TGC looked into things, of course, but the chemical weapons in question were designed to kill quickly, not cause unnecessary suffering, so all was fine. They hadn't received a formal request for aid, so what someone did outside their territory wasn't their problem. Skip gates shoved things into warp, which can be used to give ships a head start. On the other hand, when something without a warp drive is launched via electromagnetics or gravity manipulation, then skip gate, the object will decrease in warp factor until it hits 1, at which point the object is then in the same place of existence as everything else not in warp. The entire time it's in warp, the velocity relative to warp 1 is multiplied by a warp factor. Aimed carefully, a pizza can be delivered right in front of you, surrounding walls completely ignored. Aimed carefully, a capsule made of regular matter, containing antimatter via electromagnetics, can be dumped right into the middle of anything which doesn't have anti-warp defenses. When Taylor started deleting planets from the Republic's territory, the TGC looked into things again, but she was acting on behalf of herself, not a corporation, so it wasn't the TGC's problem. Taylor wasn't a biologist, but bored people on the internet quickly provided the tailor-made virus, targeting the couple of species of the Republic. Bioweapons are by their nature hard to control once used, so the TGC looked into things, but she had distributed a counterplay to the polities around the Republic, so those of those species outside the Republic wouldn't be affected. All in all, it took 39 hours for the situation to go from Taylor having only a ship to the Republic being completely outmatched. It took 45 hours for the Republic to collapse into civil war. It took 54 hours for the Republic to no longer exist. Everyone not completely brain-dead learned 2 lessons. 1. Make sure there aren't any humans where you're aiming. 2. If a single civilian can do that, do not mess with the human military. Of course, not everyone actually got that message, but idiots will be idiots. End of story. Story number 2. The Human Champion, written by Wyvern590. The chanting of my people drowned out the pitiful squawkings of the human audience as the radiant heat of the pits illuminated our bloodlust-fueled manic frenzy. Long have we waited for this day. After 1,000 years, a new race with new champions would face glorious death in the arena. Our victory is assured, as our divine right to rule is undeniable. Our ascension to the heavens marked at the beginning of a 10,000-year crusade, culminating with our dominion over the galaxy. However, many grew bored of the slaughter, for no enemy posed a true challenge for our warriors, and many died, feeling as though they had not achieved the same glory as their ancestors. And so we cast aside our machines of war, our ships, our tanks, and our cannons. They now adorn not the fields of distant planets, with the room of this very stadium, a colossal monument to the Crusades and our inexorable claim to the universe. I ascended the gilded steps to the Emperor's throne, my throne, and raised my talons. Silence followed, for who would dare challenge the Emperor's patience? Even the humans, ignorant of imperial customs, knew better. Lowering my talon, I addressed the feverish crowd. My people, sons and daughters of Corona, today is the greatest of days, for we have discovered new friends. But before they can be our friends, they must be our enemies. The crowd cheered, and I allowed them a moment of wild cheer before silencing them again. I know you are eager for blood, and so am I. Release the champions, I shouted. As the echo of my majestic voice faded, the cheers grew, drowning out the grinding of metal as the grates were lifted out of the ancient soil below. Our champions, impatient and bloodthirsty, burst through the gates, shattering rivets and sending massive metal shards careening into the air. Thousands of chimeric abominations, bred for this very battle, flooded the arena. Some maintained their original Quran appearance to a degree. Others twisted mockery of flesh and metal, but all deadly and clamoring for the blood of the human champion. The opposing grates slammed open, when suddenly the humans began chanting with a fervor that overwhelmed the frenzied clamor of my own people. "Rip and tear!" they shouted as a lone warrior emerged from the shadows. End of story. And that, my friends, concludes this video. I hope that you enjoyed.